Welcome to Champagne Sunday. I'm Lauren.
Hey, I'm Bonnie.
I'm Beth.
And we're going to talk about life
After divorce.
And living
The best life.
and the life you love.
Yes, living the life you love on that other side.
Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome.
Okay, so happy Christmas, everybody.
Yes.
And happy New Year coming
Happy
up.
New Year.
Yes, well, we're 12 days of Christmas on our way to New Year.
Yes.
Yes.
So tonight, what's today? Do we know which day it is of Christmas?
It's
the
the
fourth?
first Sunday after Christmas.
So what day is it?
So
Let's
it's the
5/28 tonight. It's the 5th day of Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 golden rings.
five golden rings.
So tonight we're going to talk about our words of 2025, which I've never really done like specific words of 2025, but this time I'm sort of.
I've done
determined.
words
You've
sort
done
of
words
for the
before,
year.
Bonnie.
I've done them for a few years.
And I've done themes,
yes, you
like
do a
that.
theme. Yeah.
like a theme. But
No.
I guess I'll come up with a word.
Well, and okay, let's do a brief little talk about why we don't love the word resolution. Why are we not doing New Year's resolutions?
I think people start. Okay, I'll give you the pro and con. I think people start off with great intentions. And about 2 weeks in, they have made their goals so lofty that there's no way in hell they will ever meet them. And then they get all depressed and then they can't do anything. And then they slog through the rest of the year. So the pro on making resolution, if you don't call it, make a big banner like, hey, resolution. If you just make a few goals, I think that's easier, and make sure you make your goals attainable. When I started doing a theme, it was easier because then I didn't have like such a narrow road to go down. I could branch off and do things to the theme instead of just a goal. So that's why I did that. But I think Bonnie's words have always been good, and those are easier to.
And it's more my words
Yeah.
tend to be a frame of mind.
Yes.
How I need to look at my world, not necessarily a resolution.
I'm thinking of this year more as the rule I'm living by, and it's really self-preservation. It's really about
you've
it's about
had the
self-preservation.
busiest
but-
year
that.
ever.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
But if I have a rule, a set in stone rule, like this is my rule for my life, I'll generally follow it.
Well, and you have some great reasons we'll get into it.
I
as to
do,
why
I
you're
do.
choosing.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that when you make a resolution at the very beginning of January, going into the worst seasonal depression months of the year.
Great.
Do you know, my
You
therapist
know.
said January is a month of failure.
Yeah, well, and it's and so
Well, it's also
birthday,
your adrenaline let down from the holiday season
Yeah.
that you just had.
you have
And you have, it's fun in October, and then you're thankful in November, and then it's presents and parties, and you see everyone until you're ready to.
well, and it
Raw.
begins in the school system in the where I work. It gets into the testing season too. There are hardly any days off until you get to spring break. And so it is just like hit the ground running again. But also, so my birthday's in February and I look forward to it and so thankful that I have it there every year, because by the time February rolls around, I need something, because it has just felt like all of a sudden I have like put 12 pounds on my back I have to walk around in, that it rains every single day and it's great. There's never, and if it's a sunny day, it's 0 degrees. Like there's no let. And so I think when you make resolutions like that at the beginning of the year, going into that, it's just think about like if you're on a journey, that really hard part of the journey, that it's just like carrying extra baggage. It doesn't really help you.
Yeah.
It's almost like we need to make resolutions in June.
Right.
Yeah.
When
That would
things
be-
are happy and sunny and nice.
So what's everybody for?
My words, I chose 3. And every once in a year I'll have one. And some years I just can't pick between them. And so this year my words are faith.
A rocking chair.
Faith in trying to remember to put my trust where it needs to be. And then if there's something I really, really want, if it's right, it's going to happen. And just sort of let it go. I was that way. And as I was younger, before I was married, it was really easy to let things go and trust that they would be taken care of in one way or the other. And then the second one is worth. I want to remember my worth, know my worth in all situations, and make sure that I am treating myself with the worth that I have, not just expecting it from others. And then wisdom, that I am taking the time to stop and think and truly discern over everything that comes, and not just jump and open my mouth to the first thing that comes out, because I can tend to be ruled by my emotions. And those don't always serve me well if I jump on them in the beginning. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, so that's mine. So
Laura?
So I can't remember if I talked about this the last time we recorded, but mine is no. I'm having a year of absolutely not. If it's not related to work, like if it's not related to what is paying me that I have to do, I'm not doing it.
But you're going to have to expand on that, because you tend to say yes to things that you could say are related to work. Or how much wiggle room are you going to give yourself?
No, I'm hard knowing.
Okay.
And the people who need to know already, so that I can yes more to friends and to family and to that stuff. I have had a crazy year of a lot of work. I mean, I do have a lot of work, but I have a lot of volunteer stuff too that I just need to take a step back from. It's not that I'm going to disappear, but like I need to do that for it's self-preservation. That's what it is. I had way too, especially this fall, there were way too many things going on. And I galloped to a pause at the holiday. I mean, it was to the finish line. So, and that wasn't okay. And I haven't really gotten a holiday because there's too much stuff to do still. I mean, I haven't gotten any kind of like really break this time. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to take it like during the semester. And then I talked to my boyfriend about this, and he's like the best theater widow that ever existed, because he does theater, so he understands like when I need to be gone, which is, I mean, my schedule is wacky and he's great about it. Everybody's not, but he's very cool about it. But when we have a conversation and he goes, maybe you need to take a year where you just like take a step back, I listen to that if he says that, because
he's in the
very
thick of
supportive
it.
He's also observant.
Yeah. So that's one. And then the other thing, and I was thinking about this today, is like simplicity. I just want to get simple. I want to get like, down to just like daily life and enjoying just the little things, just being simple, and in the cooking dinner and the hanging out and giving myself the space to do that. And for my partner and my son and my family and friends. So that's going to be really what my lens for this year, I'm hoping. So
that's great. Well, and I know with your volunteer work, because it is related, it's still theater. It feels like you're still doing things for your career.
Yeah.
So I understand.
I mean, I told everybody that I'm not going to not be around.
Right.
But I'm not going to commit to anything.
You're not going to take on the big parts of it.
Right. No. So if there's help needed and I'm free, sure. But like at this point, I'm looking at having a latter half of the spring semester in a summer where I don't have a show that I'm doing anything major in.
Right.
I never have that. And I need to take that space. So I'm excited about that.
Well,
not that I'm not excited. I mean, I love theater. It's what I do, but everybody needs time to sort of regenerate. One of my best friends said he's a music director and an actor, but he took last summer off of doing any shows, and he was like, it is the best thing I ever did for myself. I felt so good going back into.
Yeah. Well, it has to, you have to fill yourself back up to allow, because you become depleted.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about this before, but when you're creative, if you go nonstop, you don't have it.
Yeah.
You don't have it. You're just coming up with whatever you can, and you really do have to give yourself some space to
recharge,
to rest or recharge, and all of that stuff, to let that build and to get inspired.
Yes.
Like when you're doing it all the time, you don't always have time to get inspired, and that's a real thing.
No, and you end up recycling other things that may not necessarily have worked well, but it's what you've got in your brain at the moment.
Yeah. And I mean, not to say I'm not proud of the work I've done, I'm proud of the work I've done, but I need a minute to be like, okay, and to take in instead of putting out. That's a good way to put it. I need a second of taking in and not total output. Yeah.
Well, I was like, there's my sister, she was an elementary teacher, and there's a book that she read to her class every year about the bucket.
Mhm.
You can either fill people's buckets or you deplete people's buckets, talking about being friends. So when you help someone, you're filling their bucket. And when you're ugly to someone, you're depleting their bucket and things like that. But I've always thought about it also in terms of us and our emotional level and our work level. You need time. Your bucket's almost empty, and you need time to fill it back up so you have more to give.
Right.
Because you've given everything in your bucket. I mean, there's just nothing left. So, yeah, totally get that. Yeah, so it'll be an exciting year. I'll see your car at your house more often this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. And just like giving that space to, again, I saw some of my friends this week that I haven't seen in a long time. And I was like, oh,
You could be doing
my
this.
best buddy lives in Birmingham. I haven't seen her in 6 months. She lives an hour away. I haven't seen her in 6 months. I was like, when did I see you last? And we couldn't remember. I think I said it was April when I was down there for our college's closing. And she's my best friend.
Yeah.
And she was like, Lauren, we got to, and I said, yeah, I know. We got to fix this. So
Well,
there's no reason that I can't get down there more than that.
So let's talk real quick, trying to think about how some others may feel if they felt they were in the same boat. How do you put yourself first the way you need to without guilt? Because you don't have, because this is what you need. And you're not saying you should have any guilt. You shouldn't. But, I can see where some people might have to struggle with that.
I do have guilt about it. Because I feel like I'm letting down organizations or people that may need my skill set and just my presence sometimes because I know how to do a certain thing. But if you just say it out loud, you just have to state it out loud. Like, this is what I'm doing. I can't. And my friends gave me like a joking hard time about it, but not a real hard time about it. You know what I mean? They were like, you're going to want to be involved in this, but whatever. And I was like, yeah, I may want to be involved in this, but I'm not going to because this is what I need. And people respect you for that. They're not going to get mad at you about it, but you do have to state it. Like, the worst thing to do is commit to something and then back out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, say what you're going to do up front so that they know what to expect. Because if they know to expect like minimal involvement or,
Well, it keeps you from being voluntold.
Yeah.
For a lot of things that they hadn't known in the past. Oh, we'll just have Lauren do that for us.
Right.
Now you've told them you're not going to be available for that sort of thing.
Yeah. And anyway, that's what I know has been successful. So we'll see.
Well, and I'll say I was at work. I have a friend at work, a colleague who told me something that at the time just sort of just threw me back and made me completely reevaluate my work life. And she said, if you quit today, they'll replace you tomorrow.
Yeah.
There is no one that will not do your job.
Yeah.
They won't do it in the same way. They may do better. They may do worse. But what I'm saying is you're busting your butt to be here and all of this overtime, but you can't be replaced as a mom.
Yeah.
In your house. It means if you're looking at it, your kid is going to go for the rest of their lives and know who was their mom and how you were there for him. But when you're done with this job, you'll be replaced and it's possible no one remembers you. And so in the grand scheme of your life, what is most important to you? Is it your family, which is what it's supposed to be? And so that's why you should have no guilt about putting you and your family
And
first.
the other thing about your job is like, sometimes you have to take a step back and look at what your actual job requirements are and not just what you've been doing.
Right.
And
others' expectations.
Others' expectations.
Well, it also gives somebody else the opportunity to step up and do some of the things.
I will say we did a very simple holiday show this semester because we had to push our fall show back to January. So we did a very simple holiday show. And my president the production values were so minimal, but we had a good little turnout. It was for families. It was for children. My president loved it. He waxed rhapsodic about how much he loved it. I was like, see, it can be just as effective, just flipping the script about the way you do things. So, and I think everybody has to stop and evaluate that, especially in your work life, which if you're looking at doing it for 30 years or whatever you're going to do till you retire, if you do the same thing exactly the same way for 30 years, you can't.
That means you didn't grow.
Because human beings are dynamic. Like, we must shift.
Mm.
I don't think just being stagnant is a thing we can
Well,
do.
I've always said, if I get to the point where I don't want to learn every day when I go into my job, if I don't want to learn more about what it is, then I don't need to be doing it. Especially because I'm in teaching. I mean, there's some days I don't love it all, but for the most part, I am very curious about what I'm doing, and I want to keep learning.
But this is also something that we all learned in our past, in our marriages and divorces, is that if it's not working, you have to flip it. You have to change the narrative. And I have definitely taken that lesson into other aspects of my life. I will say that. So.
Okay, well, Beth, do you have words?
Well, I came up with a theme and then I backed off because we're doing words. But I think...
Well, you don't have to do words if you want to do a theme instead.
I think the word would be...
Theme is good.
Clearing out. Clearing everything. I have a plan to put into place that I've kind of started on. That by this time next year, I will have cleaned out my house, cleaned out, I don't want to say a friendship list, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, some relationships are for a very short time. And sometimes they are there for a purpose, and then the purpose is resolved, and you move on. I have tried to keep positive people who want to actually spend time with me, people who have invested in me, people who I have invested in who show reciprocal energy. I'm trying to kind of let go of things that do not serve me or give negative energy. I'm trying to do positive going forward. Those kind of things. So I want to clean out my house, clean out my spaces, clean out my mind, clean out all the things that kind of hold me back and tether me kind of to the past. I've had a couple of little breakthroughs recently. I think I told y'all about Christmas dinner and some things that happened in my family of origin that kind of just cleared the air, which is a clearing. Things that needed to be said that have not been said for 39 years. That's a long time to hold on to things. Yes. But I think families do that. And sometimes they do that. They think it's protective, but really it's just kind of festering. When you put a little encapsule around it, it doesn't clear it out. It just keeps it trapped there. So I think the clearing out of everything, I learned a new game. I'm trying to get better at that. It's a game that you have to use your brain. It's strategy and counting and thinking and reading, and it's constantly moving. So, mahjong rules. Anyway, so I've upped my book list. I realized instead of reading 12 books or 10 books or whatever we did for our book club that started, that I've actually read like 23 books this year.
That's great.
And they're on all different subjects, which is the beauty of a book club, or at least our book club. People pick the book on what they want to read, and then everybody reads it, and you get exposed to new authors and new ideas and new genres. That I'm a person that if I like an author, I will read that author. If I like the book, I'll read everything they ever wrote. And then I'll go to the next one. And just having new perspectives, new friends. I have new friends, some of the old friends in Mahjong, some new ones in book club. So I think exposure to new ideas and being open, because I've cleared out all that old stuff, is going to be good for me. And so that is my thing. So I guess I'm clearing. I may have a clearinghouse. It's clearing out, clearing furniture, things that I've held on to because I felt like I needed to because they were my mom's or my grandma's that really don't have any, they weren't significant things.
Right.
I'll keep the significant things, but carrying around 14 boxes from my mom and 10 from one grandmother and another box from another. I mean, I feel like it's tethered me, like I'm an air balloon, but I'm tethered to the ground and I need to cut the lines. So
I have some of that stuff sitting in a storage unit that I really, and now I have some distance from it. I mean, I haven't been to that in 10 years, I guess. But I really have to, because they didn't care about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they would tell me to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's when you're kind of raw in it or you haven't moved on from it, it's hard to part with things.
Right.
You don't know if they had significance, but I'm
you
so
don't-
far out.
Or you don't know if you'd get to know them better by going back through this. And when you miss that, I've always thought about keeping my grandmother's things. Is it because I feel like if I go back through it and look at it again, will I get to know her better? Will I know more about her? We have my great grandmother. We found her calendars that she wrote all over.
My
it
kids
was
were
kinda-
all kinds
yeah.
of stuff like that.
some of the most significant things from like my grandparents' house aren't pieces of furniture or like or cookbooks or anything like that. It's like a magnet that I stick on my refrigerator. It's a duck. And I remember clicking it as a kid.
Yeah. Mine, I
Like,
have
it making
I have
the
three little
sound.
angels on my piano, and they're like all with their eyes closed,
Yeah.
and they're plastic.
I know, but
But they were
that-
at my grandmother's house, and they were in her living room every year, always. And so I've got them here because I love them and I remember
Yeah.
them.
You
that's
see
the
my
kind of stuff that's
threadbare-
more
My
significant.
threadbare red bird that's on my tree. The
Yeah.
only thing that made it on my tree this year really is my grandmother's 1930 red bird. It's my grandma bird's. When the kids met, we drew numbers and everybody got to pick an item and then we went back through youngest to oldest to youngest, all that stuff. And I was surprised nobody wanted it. But I was there and then I realized I was there. I was the age to observe and soak it in. Every year when she set up her tree, I was there. She always placed the red bird in a certain place, and I got to help with that. And then it got to be my job. So it was kind of my little thing with my
Mhm.
grandmother. And then I realized none of the other kids did that with her. That was what I did with her. So I took the little, y'all, it looks like it has mange. It is so, it hardly has any feathers on it, but it's up in my tree and it makes me so happy.
I have
That.
my grandmother's this probably 40s, early 50s angel ornament
Mhm.
that is just she is a wreck and she has no arms.
Oh.
She looks like winged victory. Like it's this little, she's plastic and then her wings are like stretchy fabric, but she has no arm. Like she's just a mess and I always stick her toward the top. It cracks me up.
We have the one my mother kept because my mother, I guess growing up, they put the same angel on top of the tree.
Mhm.
And it has green hair now. Like it's plastic or whatever it is, and her
So it
hair's
started
turned
oxidizing.
green.
Yeah.
And so where's the green-haired angel? We got to bring her out like every single year because we put her on my grandmother's tree, and now my mother puts her on her tree.
So I think keeping certain things is good, but not keeping all of it.
Yeah.
And I did purge when I moved here. I had boxes of stuff. And there's one thing I wish I hadn't thrown away, but it was for Buzz Aldrin. My mother dated him before he was an astronaut. But every year he would send her whatever the latest NASA thing was. And I threw some of that away. And I was historical and
Oh no.
handwritten notes to her.
Hindsight.
And I should not have thrown that away. But
Oh well.
it's gone. And see, I have to just like let it go. And that's my whole,
But also, like, devil's advocate, what would you have done with it?
not a thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Give it
was
to
sitting in a
museums.
box.
It had gone to the Space and Rocket Museum,
Maybe.
NASA. I
Maybe.
mean,
Maybe. But, I have to make peace with it. And that's
Yeah.
the whole thing. Since my divorce, I've been working toward peace. Peace is my number one thing. And I realized that having a house full of junk it's not all junk, but you know what I'm saying. I have an entire t-shirt drawer with t-shirts. This is what I was thinking about today doing laundry. What do I wear every day?
black.
Mhm.
Your black
A
shirts.
black t-shirt. Why do I have any other color t-shirt in there? Why do I have all this
I
stuff
have a
sitting
bunch
there?
of show t-shirts. That's what I
You
didn't
need
know
to
what to
make a
do with them.
quilt. Make
I
a
don't know what
quilt
to
out
do
of
with
I
it.
have a bunch of t-shirts from the high school.
Make a t-shirt
A
quilt.
t-shirt quilt.
There are people in town that do that.
I just never, I mean, I wear them every once in a while. No, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, those are the t-shirt quilt. You can leave that in your den for when
I was going to
company
say,
over.
that's good for watching shows.
Do you know how many show shirts I have, though? I
A
mean,
bunch.
I
I've been doing
mean-
this for a minute.
I have. It's a lot.
So every man has a new quilt.
You can start gifting them.
You can do that. You can do it by years. You
Well,
can do it by.
I've done like a hand-me-down to my son for sleep shirts.
Oh, yeah.
So if there are ones that I don't like, I'm like, sleep shirt, yes. Great.
Oh, that's fun.
That's good. But I mean, things like that, like I have stuff and I read a list, like if you haven't worn it in the last year, in the last 5 years, it should not be in your closet.
Mm-hmm.
In the last year, you need to try it on and see if you would ever wear it and then chunk it or sell it or donate it. Because I live in this house and it should be comfortable, but I have other color t-shirts in my drawer that do not need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to declutter my life, my brain, everything. It's about to get
That's
real.
good. Yes, good.
My shredder's about to do overtime in my office. And I started my death notebook. So,
You've got a death notebook. I've got a death box.
but I started putting papers in it. Y'all, I started
Okay,
writing it.
let me be clear. 2025 is not the year of death, people.
No,
That's not what we're
but for
saying.
me, it's the year of
No one is saying
It is a part of
Organizing.
organization.
organizing and decluttering.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with, we've talked about this before, but one of my friends one of my best friends from college, we met for lunch a couple days ago. And for some reason, we got on this like topic of like, what do you spend your day doing? He was like, okay. So, cause he has, I think she's 4.5, almost 5. And like, I have a 10-year-old and my other friend has 3 sons and her youngest is like 5, I think. So he was like, okay, kids are in bed. What are you spending the last little minute of your evening doing, like before you go to bed? So kid goes to bed at 9. Let's say you go to bed at 11. What do you do
For those
in
2
that
hours. Yeah.
chunk of time to improve your life, like, or to better yourself? And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm bettering myself, but like, I generally will watch a TV or talk to my boyfriend. Like that's what we do at the end of the day. But anyway, everybody kind of got in a conversation about like, what does that little like self-improvement time look like? And then I started talking about like, we were all talking about our spaces. And I said, this might be really morbid, but in the last few years of my divorce, I've thought very vividly about the fact that like, I'm going to die at some point and I need to just get rid of things that I don't want my kid to have to go through.
Well, yeah.
And everybody kind of agreed. I was like, I don't mean that to be dark. And everybody was like, no, we get that. Like, that
And
makes
that's
sense.
part of it for me. I want you to declutter all
Yeah.
that stuff. I don't want to have to have my kids come in behind me and go, why does she only wore black t-shirts. Why does she have the entire drawer of
'cause then
t-shirts we have to deal with? And that's just one example, but like the papers in my office. And I want to use my space. When I moved in, I had a different idea of how to use the space. I had a kid at home. I had another one that rolled in all the time because he was at school. It was a different dynamic. Now I'm going to be empty nester. My older one has his own life. He comes home maybe every 6 weeks, 3 weeks sometimes, whenever he gets break. But he's only there for like 3 or 4 days. My youngest is going to college. Want to reimagine my space as a empty nester single woman. So I really want my house to be kind of like what my shop used to be, my happy place. I want it to reflect me more, not the family home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Not that that's a bad thing, but I need it to work for me
Yeah.
in a different way than it's been working. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I had lots of time to think about this after my surgery.
Well,
And I'm
also
laying there looking at things going, why did I put this here? It would be so much better if it was there because that's how I use it.
the way your house is, your youngest has like her own space. So you don't really have to think about that space. Cause,
Oh, no, my exercise 7.
oh, okay. All
She's
right.
My bird board's going out there. My rowing machine's going out there. It's a lot of open floor space up there that I don't have downstairs.
No, there is. That's true.
So that's going to be my studio.
Well, I'm excited about redoing my son downstairs bedroom, which he's married and doesn't live here, so it's not really
But
his
it's kind
bedroom.
of a guest room, and it's
a guest room, but it's exciting. I mean, I want to feel like we're sitting in my silver room. I painted the walls silver, but it has all the artwork in it, and it's just I love
It's a
this
happy
room. It's a
room.
happy room. I
Yeah.
want every room in my house to be a happy room, an expression of the things that I love.
That's what when I first came to my house, I wanted it different than the house I was moving out of, the marital home.
Well, you couldn't help it because this is a lot older than that. Your house now is a lot older than when you moved out of, isn't it?
Yeah, but I had different colors. I wanted it to feel different. You know
Okay,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? And so I did it, and I like how it's done. But there are a lot of things that when you move in, you need this here, and you need this here, and this is where we put the backpacks, and blah blah blah. I'm not going to have that.
Yeah, you can well, and I
You know
have
what I'm
found that
saying?
the
So-
longer you live somewhere, like I've reimagined my space and gone, wait a minute, I don't even need this. Let's get
Yeah.
rid of this altogether.
So-
Put this here.
When I moved into my house, because historic homes don't have a pattern. Like, you can really make a lot of your
They
rooms
do.
lots
if
of
you
different.
think about how they used to live,
But-
and what was important.
But for us
So-
now, it's not.
but it's
doesn't
not the
not
same
logical.
thing.
When I
Yeah.
moved in 10 plus years ago, we used the room I now use as a dining room as the den, because that's what the previous owners used it as.
What did they use the front room as?
A dining room, which we didn't do that. It was like
They must have had to have a lunch
was-
table. And
so,
blah, blah, blah.
but we had, so the dining room was the den. My son's room was the dining room. The front area, which is now the den, was like a playroom. And the foyer has always been the foyer.
Yeah.
That is what it is. So it's completely reimagined now. And like the foyer is the foyer, living room is the den where the TV is and
your
everybody hangs
foyer
out.
is really kind of a formal living room,
Yeah.
ish.
And then my son moved into the room that was the dining room because it's kind of an like contained
Off the
room.
kitchen, yeah.
And then what was the den was the dining room. So my friends the other day who came had not seen it since I reimagined it. They were like, oh, this works so much better. I said, yeah, it does. This is the energy that this house
Yeah.
wanted to give to begin with.
But I do believe you have to live in a house a little while
Yeah.
to figure out how you use the space.
Well,
Yeah.
this is going to sound
So-
crazy, but I kept like, for years I was like, it wants it to be this. Like,
Yeah.
I can hear the house telling me that
And-
it wants that.
And I'm going to say this too. I think creative people think about space and color and the light and the,
Yeah.
in a different way than non-creative people.
Yeah.
Because I have some friends that if the blueprint said this is the dining room, it's going to be the dining room come hell or high water. And it doesn't matter if the house is talking to them because that is how they think. They're very linear thinking. I want now, every couple of years, I like completely used to change up everything, move all the furniture. Well, all of a sudden, I think after sitting for so long after the surgery and having to rest and being in my house and seeing things in a different way, now I want to move up a lot of things around and rearrange. Whereas I think before the surgery, I was so wrapped up in getting a job and doing the job well, mastering the job, kind of figuring out all the ins and outs of the job. Well, now I feel like, okay, I'm there. And now the job is not, my job is important to me because it's how I make a living, but it's not going to take over in 2025. In 2025, I want to kind of balance more and use my space and be in my house because I do have a remote job, but I travel also. But when I'm home, I want to really enjoy and use the space the way that I want to use it.
Mhm.
And so that's a whole nother clearing furniture, clearing out the space.
I want to say something I just thought of that I think all of us have articulated tonight is that, and we didn't record for a long time because we were so busy, but I
Yeah.
think all of us have been in either a busy spot or a new spot.
Yes.
Either things that were keeping us going or brand new things that we're trying to figure out. But also we're at this spot out of our divorces and in our homes and in relationships or not or whatever, where we've had a chance to kind of stop and go, okay, what does this look like? What do I need from it? So what I hear us all saying is we've taken a chance to observe, like kind of step out of yourselves and observe your life and go, oh, here's what I need to happen right now.
Right.
Does that feel?
Mhm.
Well, and to add to that, I think you're spot on that. But I think also all of us are out enough from our divorce. Maybe a spot that we never thought in the middle of the divorce that we would ever get to, arrive at, or
Didn't even know
you
it
couldn't
existed.
see it. You couldn't imagine it. To be happy and to be making choices in your house.
If we had known we could be here, we'd have all been gone.
Oh, yeah.
10 years earlier.
Yes, absolutely.
Y'all, I had a long talk
I
with...
think this
go ahead.
I think this is where we are. We all feel comfortable
Right.
as maybe not so, we're divorced women. I think we feel comfortable being single, and we feel comfortable in our own skin now, and we feel the dust has settled from all the ugly, divorce, crazy, chaotic, how am I going to do this? How am I going to afford this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
We've all kind of gone through a cycle of how are we going to do it? How are we going to help our kids through it? And we're kind of at the backside of that now. The kids are doing well. The jobs are doing well. We have our houses. We are in the flow of our life, and we're kind of open to more possibilities. And so I think we're at a comfortable place.
Right.
I don't think when we started this or thinking about doing this 2 years ago, that any of us were actually really comfortable where we were.
Right.
Now we're in a more comfortable place, a place that maybe we couldn't even imagine that we would be when we were doing all those uncomfortable things. But I think maybe that's what it is. We have allowed ourselves to move through all that, and now we're happy.
Mm-hmm.
And now we want to be happy in our houses. And so I think we're kind of at that point where we're not juggling all the balls, but we can just see them.
You just get so much more objective.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I had a friend. I was reminded of that place because I haven't been in that place for a long time. But I had a friend who's going through a divorce, and we were at a party the other night, and she was talking to me about it. And I said, "Oh, honey, it's going to be so great. You're going to be so happy."
It's hard for people to believe that when you say that.
No,
You're
she's in a pretty good spot for like where she is, but it's all new and it's all transition, and we're
There's
talking
some
about that.
fear.
And I said,
There's
look,
some fear.
we have such a good community here. Like everything's gonna be great. Like you have no idea. If I had known, I would have tossed myself into it a lot earlier. But I was reminded that, yeah, I'm not there anymore. I'm not even kind of there anymore.
But I think that's where we are. We're kind of at a settled in, okay, now what about me?
Yeah. Well, I'm 6 years out.
3?
You're
Wait,
3.
Yeah.
2.5.
Okay.
And I just had my 8th anniversary.
Okay. So, yeah.
So we're, it's just, I think we're at a settled point, and now we're open to new possibilities.
Well, and I think we're trying to make our lives work for us instead of us work for our lives.
Exactly.
And our home and all that needs to follow
Exactly.
suit. Yeah. And our time.
Mm-hmm.
We've all talked before about how valuable our time is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most. Listen, my president gave us 2 days off at the end of the semester,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was like, "There's nothing more valuable that you could have given me than
No
2
kidding.
additional days
No,
off."
yeah. Oh, I
It's
agree.
so, like,
It's
'cause you
it's
can't-
an excellent
time
bonus.
Time is the one thing you cannot. There's no way to replace it.
So, in keeping with that, for 2025, we're going to be very mindful of how we spend our time and who we spend our time with, and how we prioritize our time.
All right, so we've talked about how you've got your theme, we've got our words. How are you going to keep your words at the forefront? Like,
I am going to really try to routine myself, and that's hard for me. That is hard for me, but I need to be in a routine, and I have some other things I'm working toward that mean I need to be in a routine, a good routine. So anyway,
well, routines are hard for us Asian people.
Working out is one of the big things that I need to do every single day. So I'm about to re-up my gym membership, which I didn't think I was going to do, but if I can just get. Why do you have that look on your face?
Where are you going to go?
Walking the dog is not doing
Hey.
it.
Where are you going to go?
Red X. I just need an elliptical.
Well, I've decided that I'm going to, now that I'm out far enough for my surgery, I am going to go back and do that weightlifting class in the mornings. You
What time
won't do it because it's a morning person thing.
What time does it start though? 5? No, I can't do that. You know I can't.
But they have another one during the week. But when I started doing that, I really had fast results and I liked it.
Yeah.
But then I had surgery and I put on a lifting restriction. So I couldn't
So,
do it.
well, I've been waiting on
So,
this guy to heal because I had, y'all, this is so stupid. Listeners, I had pinky surgery and I've been I can't put like weight on this hand. So I've been waiting on it to go away so I could do like yoga even again.
Yeah.
So all of that, I'm trying to get back into all of that. So,
Well, I'm excited for 2025. And I think this is the first time in a long time I've been excited for the new year.
yeah.
I just went along. I rode the wave all these years just because, well, at the first, when you get divorced, I didn't have a date for New Year's, which I had had a built-in date for 21 years. I didn't even have to think about it. And so then it got to be a thing. Like I made it a thing in my mind. I need a date on New Year's. And then I had a date with Bonnie.
Letting go of a lot of those things that are supposed to be a thing.
Yeah.
Like gala popped up this year.
Yeah.
I didn't go to gala because
Yeah,
you know what's
we didn't
true.
go to get none of
I
us
know.
went.
I sound like I don't believe in the hospital and that organization, but I didn't go to gala for years until I went to gala, and then I was like, I cannot go to gala again, and that's okay. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's do a table of girls next year. Just call
Well,
it.
yeah, and a lot of things for me changed. Talking about expectations, when I got to the place where I didn't really want to date, where I was just fine not dating. I'm great not having a date for New Year's. I don't want.
Excuse me. We
well,
have
I'm
a
sorry.
date?
I'm boy date, not a BFF date. That's
Although we're going to dinner and then I'm crapping out on her because it's mahjong.
I'm coming to your house.
Come to my house
I'm doing mahjong.
She's
Because I'm not really mahjong cult.
on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
What y'all gonna do?
they're gonna play
Mahjong.
a game.
We're playing mahjong all night.
I know. I don't know. Yeah.
It's like a mahjong marathon.
See, and I can't play mahjong because I'm afraid I'll become addicted like all of these other people. And if I become addicted,
I don't
yes,
play
you
every
are.
day.
You would. You just can't convince three other people to
She
play
just-
every day.
Viewers, she just side-eyed it when we said we'd play every day. She went, would I?
Really would.
She said, would I?
No,
I don't know.
Somebody put on the mahjong page, can you play Friday night and
Yeah, she's
Saturday?
like-
And I went,
Yes, you can. If you're-
Simply.
yeah,
Maybe
if you could
really
find three
is.
other people to play with you every day, you would.
Maybe really is.
maybe.
I've got to put together things. See, yes, like I said, a little obsessed.
It's not.
But you're not the only one. There's lots of y'all. that are
91
obsessed.
women signed up to play.
No, Decatur's not the
It's-
only.
it's
It's
the new
it's a
bridge.
phenomenon.
Everywhere.
It's like
It's
the
like-
new bridge and the new
Yeah,
bunko. It's
It
the
comes around every so often, sort of like a meteor shower.
Right. It's a mahjong shower, people.
So I
That's
am
funny.
stitching mahjong things now. So
That's so funny.
I
Yes.
need to stitch you 2025 hard no.
Hard no.
And then on the
Okay.
other side, you're going to put maybe.
hard no. Yes, hard no / maybe.
And maybe on the other side, hard.
Ask me tomorrow.
There you go. All right, so we're at the end. This will be our first episode of 2025. We're in our season 2, ladies. Well, we've kept this up for a minute, except for our little bitty extended break.
We
That
need-
was a
we had-
sabbatical.
It was a sabbatical.
No,
it was the
listen,
end of season
The
1.
truth is, we couldn't have met. There was no time. It was
We're just
wild.
going to say it's a champagne sabbatical.
That was a champagne sabbatical. It's a champagne sabbatical. We had a champagne sabbatical, man. It was champagne sabbatical. We had your best times. So fun.
Anyway, what is all right? So since we're doing 2020, what's one thing you are looking forward to in the new year instead of what we're doing this next week to live the life that you love? That's one thing. Pick just one. Okay, it's playing mahjong for you. I can see it without you even saying it.
Yes. Well, it's sort of.
See,
Okay, I have two.
I'm
Yeah.
setting. Well, I got to finish. I'm setting
go
up
ahead.
a mahjong table at my house.
Okay. I think you need to teach. I think I need
I
to know
will-
how to
You
play.
can come out.
I feel like
I will give you.
I need to know how to
lesson
play.
because I think everybody should play.
Okay.
This. It's going to keep me
seems
sharp.
like I should know how to play.
It's actually a game disguised as a health initiative.
So
for
like
my
Sudoku?
brain. Yes,
That's
it's going to
that's
keep
real.
me sharp. I'm not
Okay.
kidding.
I'm going to New York this weekend
oh, that's
with a bunch of students and my boyfriend and some friends. So we're going to have a
Yeah.
good time. But then after that, I don't do anything for like a long, long time except my jobs. So I'm just leaning into that.
So
And I'm
you're
looking forward to a summer
just-
of no shows.
well, that's nice. That.
Not to say I love I love theater viewers.
You got
Listeners.
But
I love theater. It's
but
what I
when
do.
you
But
say no shows, it's not really going to be no shows. It's going to be
no
no shows you're in
extra.
charge of or have a big role in.
Yeah,
because
I'll
we
have-
know.
I'll have to do something with our show at school.
Or your
but
kid is going to be in a show.
He might be
or
in
whatever.
something, but I'm not doing anything
Right.
for it, which it will just mean a lot of like free head space and free time.
That's good.
So that's
Bonnie.
I'm looking forward to my classes, which is why I can't get into Mahjong. I have to take my painting classes. I'm very excited about those.
maybe you
Yeah,
should
I'm
paint
very
Mahjong.
She wanted me. Bonnie's new idea for a new canvas for me is to make a mahjong mat. And when I unrolled mine, which is the top of a standard card table size, I was like,
It would only take her like 2 weeks. Seen you
I'm
stitch.
good, but I'm not that good. It would take a long time. You know what she said when I said this would take forever? She goes, it's just a few color changes.
It wouldn't take long at all. What a big age. You'll be fine.
We'll see.
All right. Well, I hope everybody has a fabulous
Oh.
start to our 2025. And Beth, if you get a minute to pull away from the Mahjong table, maybe you can meet us at Lawrence when we start it together.
New Year's Eve will be fun.
I can't imagine that they're going to play through midnight.
Yeah, and that's
If
another
they don't,
side
I have
eye.
big sparklers. How about big sparklers?
Like Denier Blanc.
Mm. The good
So
one.
you're going to have to come.
So
oh, we have that to look
You
forward
should at
to.
least just come over. Yeah,
We
Danielle
have that.
Blanc.
Yeah.
That's always the biggest fun.
Yeah.
That's always a really good fun.
All right.
All right. Love.
Love.
Cheers. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
2025, being alive.
The end of the champagne sabbatical.
Thank y'all for joining us for Champagne Sunday.
See you next week,
See you
girls.
next week. Yeah, cheers.
Have a good week.
Yes.
Cheers.